Paul was with us, and then all of a
Hello,
sudden,
Yeti Nation. Yeti Nation, how you doing, Yeti Nation? Trying to get my ear pods, buds, whatever the heck they are, squared away, but it didn't happen. So we're working technical difficulties.
we're rolling with what we got. It's what we're good at, I can tell you.
That's what we're doing.
Absolutely. So we had a chance to go watch the Albany Firewolves take on the Vegas Desert Dogs, and wow, that was a game.
That was an awesome time. That was actually an awesome time. The action was there. The fans. It was a pretty good crowd. Obviously, the end of the bleachers, I think, are more because it's a little bit cheaper. There's more fans in the end zones versus the sidelines there. But it was a good crowd. I was excited. I met Polly. Was it Polly Walnuts or Chestnuts?
Polly Walnuts. Yeah.
Polly Walnuts. And I said something to Charity. I'm like, geez, I said chestnuts, and it's going to be stuck in my head, chestnuts. And I'm like, great. I'm going to be making enemies now. But yeah, it was pretty cool to get down on the field, talk to Mike, and after watching a great game, it was a exciting game. I met the Bertrand family afterwards. I was pretty pumped up about that. Good time, great time. Hanging out with you and Charity with Dave Hayes was epic. One of the ones that I'm going to remember. It was good times. I wish I take more pictures, but I got some, and what I got, we go with.
Yeah.
And once again, the game. What a great game! You got great seats, man. Those seats were bomb. You can't ask for ever. I was watching the highlights, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was right in front of us. Oh yeah, that one was right in front. Oh yeah, right. That was right in front of you. Great seats. Great seats.
That's why I absolutely love those seats. I don't want to give those seats up for nothing. They're yeah, I think that's the best spot. Now it stinks a little bit when the action's down on the far side because you don't really get to see the goal. You
Well,
kind of
got
got
the
to watch.
jumbotron. You got the highlight. That's what I was doing because what was messing me all up was we're right at the glass level. So when you was looking down at the far end, you're looking through the glass through the netting. And it's right at that level where, well, it was affecting my vision.
Had a little double vision. All right, we're
double vision.
Yes. All right, so the right now everybody should be able to watch the replays underneath the two of us as we're sitting here talking. But
yeah.
So, I mean, one thing I really saw was Ethan Walker. He might not have gotten that first goal, but he got the rebound, and what a game that man had. I mean, he was all over the floor. The stats might not necessarily reflect it with all the goals that he had, but, in points, and he had a good night, but wow, is he a workhorse.
Yeah, ground balls that get you there. That's ground balls equal possessions equal shots on net. Shots on net equal goals. Goals equal victories.
Yeah, and that sums it up right there. And what a game it was. I mean, possession though. I mean, so at first Albany comes out, they get flying up the board, and I was like, okay. And then Vegas comes back with 2. And Tanner Thompson, this kid had a phenomenal game. He's a relatively new field.
Beecher, the beating that kid took. I don't know if you was seeing what I was watching, but I was watching the inner side there. Holy snot! That kid took a pounding on the inside. He gave it back out, but the intense picks, some great picks throughout the entire game on both teams. That's what led to so many. I mean, cutting down through the middle. A Greer for Vegas, a couple times coming through the middle. He just ran through the middle. The size of these guys, they're huge. I'm 6. I used to be 6'3", but I'm 6'3", and these guys are all of that and some. And it's like, man, huge, big boys.
It's insane, like you said. The size of these guys is really something else. I mean, and you watch the hustle, like you said, they're setting the picks. But what I really noticed more than anything is the rebound. See, like right there, he gets his own rebound, and that's where you see it. Is when you get these offensive guys on the floor for multiple possessions. That's where you're really gonna see it. You can't give
that one right there.
They're pros. Yeah. There's Ryan Holt right there.
Yeah, that one was a huge goal. Put him up. As far as we got talking Keels, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Landon Kells.
in regards to, he had those early saves right in front of us. He had some kick saves, bang, 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 and then, a couple that we thought that, as far as Dougie, there was, man, he was there, but they got in, and it was back and forth. All of a sudden, Dougie made a couple big saves, and Kells let some questionable shots through, but they are all basically inside. These guys had their outside eyes on the ball.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah. I mean,
lot of inside goals.
there's probably a couple that Dougie wants back, and I'm sure Kels will feel the same way. But like right here, you see the way they work the ball around. It's so fat that like half of where he steps and then he fakes back to the other side. That's all it takes to get the goalie to come out. And like Greer and these guys make it look so easy.
Well, Greer had a hat trick in the first half. I mean, he cut through the middle like, I don't know. Those boys are big for Vegas. That's you got four. They were heavy lefty, and as far as they used their left sides, to a large extent.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you see, so we've actually got Josh in the comments. I'm not sure you remember Josh. He was sitting down in the party zone in front of us. He
Okay, yeah, the big guy.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. What's up, Josh?
he's in the comments. He completely agrees. Walker is very underrated, and yeah, he'd be great to keep around because he really is. I mean, just what he's learned as a field player, and to watch him come around in the box, and he's got that it factor. He's just a tenacious, like gonna get the ball. You'll see, I've got a couple replays of him actually getting it, and even though he, like I said, might not have had the most points for the game, he just was
Look at this
so.
one.
Oh,
What
this
a
is
great shot!
yeah.
That's no question the goal of the game right there. That
Yeah,
was sick.
and
Sick.
that Firth is his name, and wow, that guy. So he had another goal later too, but that was one of those guys like I didn't know his name before the game, but by the time it was over, I knew who he was.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and everything basically, there was a lot that came off of the ground balls. Walker was huge on ground balls.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
those offensive zone.
Chris had to go one goal, I think, but what 10 ground balls. So ground balls lead to potential goals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Firth had one goal, but like you said, the loose balls is really where you see it. So like we were talking about with Ethan Walker. So he had 2 goals, 1 assist, but he had 7 loose balls. And in the offensive zone like that, though, that's really 7 more 30-second shot clocks. That's
yeah.
I mean, loose
That's
balls
a
are
lot of
always
time.
important, but when you're talking about in the offensive zone, when you've got your guys out there and you see right there, I mean, the way they worked the ball around on offense. Albany had a lot of bright things for the future. There, we got a penalty coming up on Vegas. He got a little high with the hit, and here you see Albany on the power play gets to come down. And this is Albany's transition game. When they're on, they need goals. We've talked about this so many times. Everybody's offense in this league can score. There's way more parity in this league than most people give it credit for. But what you really see is the transition goals. So when you can get Watkinson, Jackson Nishimura, and those guys, Tchaikovsky, like there's so many guys on that Albany team that can go. But like right there, beautiful pick set by Heine, and hands free with time. He gets a goalie to step up out of the crease, and you see McCardle, another bright spot for the Firewolves. A lot of offense. Right here, Walker, you see him just battling for it. Here, he
Gets
somehow
out of
comes
it.
through it, and yeah.
Yeah, he was face-offs, between face-offs, ground balls, huge,
Yeah.
huge. You said those 30 seconds. Well, guess what? At the end of the game, it was what 10-11. That last one was a cheese ball, but those 30 seconds, 4, 5, 6 ground balls, 4, 5, 6 more ground balls. How many more possessions of that? Shots on goal, potential. Different scores. Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean there you see just the transition for Vegas. I mean, wow, they were impressed me more than anything. I mean, at the beginning of the year they kind of struggled a little bit, but like Panther City did the same thing last year, and you saw Vegas came on so much faster.
Well, hey, as far as it's a brand new team out of nowhere, they're what 6-2 now, or is that what Vegas is? No, they're 3. They got 3 wins now, don't they? I'm not
Yes.
100% positive,
Yes, they
but
do now.
as far as you got the great Gretzky is part of ownership of that, and that's huge. You're talking about a lot of world class athletes putting together a team. They're going to get there. There's no question. And in Vegas, once it picks up out there, and the game is moving west, so there's no question they're going to get some interested people.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. You see, this is something that the sensei there talks a lot about. But when the shooters jump up to shoot, they actually like if you look how far away the stick is. His body is lined up, and it looks like Kells is in position, and there's like no room. But you see, they just reach way over the top and just make it look
Just
so
over the
easy.
top of that shoulder. Yeah. Well, you're pulling out the goalie's usually on the top side there. He's stepping out a little to take out the angle. So now you've taken a shot that's, down in there around the ears usually, or hips, someplace in there. And, Alex Cook, another great example. Alex Cook is a big man like these guys. The trajectory is coming from a different location that you're not normally, especially if you're stepping a foot, 2 foot away from the goal line. It opens up those corners and they were painting the corners right in front of us. I said it to you a couple times as we jumped up to pasted that one. I mean, corner bang, and there's only a 3 foot or a 3 inch or 6 inch area that it could potentially go through, and you want to know what they're hitting these things, and it was great seats, seats, great action. The officials let them play too. That's what I was excited about. And there wasn't any real fisticuffs as far as guys were
no, there was a lot of great play. Couple of things like you see Dougie gets stuck behind the net there. I mean, he had probably a couple decisions. One thing that Josh brings up in the chat there is Charlie Kitchen has been out, and that has been a huge part of their offense. It's his second year with Albany. He's a big player too, so I mean a big physical body. And I mean like Thompson there, Heine, he didn't have the best game with his stick, but he makes up for it a lot with his picks, his assists. He missed a couple balls kind of cutting in. I mean, it wasn't a bad game. He does well offensively, but you could see he just he didn't quite have that it factor that we need from him for us to kind of get over the top. But I mean, Vegas, you talk about moving on the picks. I mean, they are flying, and that guy just ran everywhere. Nobody touched him.
As far as Greer can switch hands. These guys got everybody says righty stay on the left side, lefty stay on the right side. You want to know what? Some of these guys, they got both hands. I mean, as far as coming around the top, if they know how to shoot, they know where to shoot. If it means put it in my right hand if I'm a lefty because that's the shot, then guess what? They can do it and with pinpoint accuracy.
Oh, Tony can you hear us?
Hello, Tony Gray. Can you hear us, Tony Gray?
Tony, can you? I'm not sure if Tony can hear us or not, but we'll get him here in a second. No, we got no, the audio says it's coming from our side. So, you might have your volume turned down. We've had that happen to quite a few of the guests on the Blue Squatch shows.
How's that?
That's better. Now we got you.
Go. My dogs is going to start barking here in a couple seconds. Mama is walking through with the Dunkin' Donuts.
Maybe the Dunkin' Donuts will help keep them down. But yeah, so Tony, we were just kind of finishing up we went to the Firewolves Vegas game, and it was a great game. I mean, obviously me being an Albany guy, I didn't quite care for the ending, but it was a very entertaining game. A lot of back and forth, and Albany they weren't able to get on the floor, and in the fourth quarter, they didn't get one goal. I mean, they got shut out for an entire quarter.
What they had for shots? I don't even know if they got some shots off in the fourth quarter. Vegas just denied them on everything almost.
Yeah, I mean, they had 52 total shots for the game, but yeah, the fourth quarter just offensively for Albany just wasn't there.
Yeah, it definitely it was very entertaining though. It was absolutely a great time. Enjoyed being there and watching what we watched.
So you guys flew all the way to Vegas for that game?
No, that was
no, I know you're not Albany.
Yeah. No, what if it's about 45 minutes for me? It takes Paul. How long did it take you?
It was about an hour and 49 minutes, is
That's
what
not
it said.
not
Hour
too
and
bad.
49. Not too bad at all.
I do miss that there's not really any box lacrosse in our area. Philly's the closest we can get to it.
And how long does it take you to get to Philly?
It's probably 2.5, closer to 3 with traffic. So
That's
so you
all.
have to really be invested to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week when we were hosting Yeti Talks, you guys were hosting something, like a coaches seminar. What was that exactly?
So with the NABLE, one of the 2 new programs we're kind of rolling out is like a team connection program where we really work on developing um, the team, really the coaches within the teams, right? So we've the first year we really focused on the GMs and getting them ready. This year we're trying to roll in coaches. We do realize a lot of GMs are also coaches, so but there are some teams that have specific coaches. So we're trying to focus on more of like an educational piece. The other thing we're trying to roll out, which is we're probably going to roll out this week or maybe the end of next week, is like a player connection program where we're going to directly contact all the players and just create an avenue for them to reach out to us to stay informed with everything. Also, we want to bring in some, NLL players that play in the NABLL and have them come on and give them kind of a a little snapshot what it's like in the NLL and like how they can get there and like their personal stories and any little tidbits that can kind of give these guys an edge. That's basically what we want to do. We want to give each facet of the NABLL an edge, whether it's the GM, the coach, the player. And we feel like the first year where it was just like, we were flying the plane while we were building it. Now the plane's built. Now we're trying to put in all the extra. We're putting in the comfortable seats. We're getting the stewardesses, and we're getting all the extra pieces to kind of make it a great experience. And that's what we want, a great experience.
Smoothing things out a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah.
Growing the game.
Now,
Growing the game.
Growing the game. And I think, that's the unique thing about the 7 of us is we're all pretty much GMs. And so we're thinking about it. What would our teams want to see? Right. And so we're kind of developing from a personal standpoint, like what would I want the Golden Bears to see? And then I'm like, oh, I have the opportunity to do the same thing with 31 other teams. Well, actually, this year they're probably going to be more than 31, but that's what we had last year. So it's been exciting. It's been a lot of fun.
I bet. So I know we actually have somebody new in the chat tonight, Josh, who doesn't know what the NABLL is. So it's a semi-pro men's box lacrosse league that Paul owns the Utica Yetis, Tony along with Rich own the Golden Bears, and you guys are going to be down in Delaware this weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're gonna have some of our guys, but it's really hard to get our top guns there. It's just what our team is so heavy with coaches that trying to get them for anything has been really hard. And so Rich and I have not found the magic formula where we're like, okay, now we got everybody. And I think most of the guys have that challenge, but we do have guys going down there that are excited to play, which, is great. But if we're saying we're bringing full power, I don't know if I can say that right now.
Gotcha. But I mean, the nice thing is, and that's kind of why the NABLL, you guys are probably adjusting the season a little bit. You've got so many coaches, players with the college guys. We've got a little bit, it's going to end a little earlier this year, so that way, hopefully, we can get everybody in before fall ball starts up for these the schools.
Yeah, that was a big thing that we kind of went back and forth from the ownership standpoint. Is like, all right, do we want this to be a league where the older players are kind of driving the show and the younger players are just kind of keeping it going, or do we want to make sure that the younger players are getting the full opportunity? But we kind of, from what our membership told us, is we can't let the older players drive the show because there's not enough of them as soon as they all go back to college. So that's why we kind of moved it forward a little, so that guys can have their players. A lot of college guys are in shape.
Oh yeah, little
skills.
different.
They come in prepared because they're come in 4 months of training in the field game, and then they come in the box. They just got to change
They come in
the way they play. But
yeah. Now, Tony Sorcy said hello. He said that you and Troy Mitchell were his first Native American lacrosse players that had a big influence on him at an early age.
Oh wow, well, that's I'm honored that I'm in the list with him. Uh, I grew up playing in the Canadian League. I played on Aquasasna and pretty much grew up in that system. And then I went out to play for the Toronto Beaches and then the Brooklyn Redmen, and then got an opportunity to play with the Rochester Nighthawks. But I didn't really realize at the time it was just what you do, right? Growing up in upstate New York and right on the Canadian border, and it was like what everybody on my reservation did. So I didn't give it a second thought till I kind of came over here and moved away, and everybody's like, "Oh, you have all this knowledge of box lacrosse." Because for the last 25 years, I haven't really done anything with box lacrosse because I was so focused on field lacrosse. But then it started growing over here, and I was like, my first practice as a coach, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And as soon as they started running around, I'm like, okay, you're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. you need to stay on this side. And I was like, okay, maybe this is not as hard as I thought. So the coach came back to me, and a lot of the lessons came back. And Troy and I are really good friends, and so we grew up playing a lot of the same teams.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we actually have we got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Great fittings for all your underground utility, plumbing, HVAC, cements, solvents,
Kevin,
irrigation, valve boxes.
My happy.
All your plumbing needs. Plumbing, irrigation, HVAC.
Fay Farms. Fay Farms, where the beef's at. Believe in 271. Nobody fights alone. You got a sweet tooth? Contact Nora's Candy. Black River Ale House. Go where the Romans go. Do what the Romans do. When in Rome, go to the Black River Ale House. Rome Sign and Display Company. Contact Terry down at Rome Sign. Nice Scoba, the men and women in blue. Thank you for what you do. George Kaler, Dry Systems. Basements are wet. Contact B-Dry. Contact Russ down at Family Landscaping. Spring is near. Deming Lakeside Trailer Park. Eric Kiefer, LUTCF. Friend of the Yeti. Tri-City Lacrosse. MEM Photography. Mark Murphy. You need the shot? Contact Mark. Bag Square Brewing Company, a authentic German brewery with authentic German food. Stop down to Bag Square when you're in downtown Utica. Robert Dix Insurance Agency. Contact Bobby Dix for all your insurance needs. Clinton Tractor and Implement Company. CBI Cables. Plug in what the pros use. CBI Cables. Plug them in. Crafty Beach for all your personalized merchandise.
And we're back. Thanks so much for staying with us. We were talking there a little bit during the break. Now, like this time of year is very tough for lacrosse coaches, lacrosse players. Everybody is gearing up, and then when you've got these tournaments going on, like how many teams are you actually a part of, Tony? Because you're kind of like got a whole network down there.
Yeah, well, I have the Golden Bears. I'm not affiliated with any particular team right now because I started my Piranha Lax, and so I've been doing a lot of like consulting and working on small groups. So I just trained Gonzaga lacrosse in the off season, and they're usually vying for the WCAC. They're usually in the top 5, if not top 10 in the country every year. So that was an exciting opportunity to go with them. And then I did some private training, and like I was saying in the commercial break, there's, a lot of coaches. I've been in the area for a long time and been lucky enough to be successful. So a lot of people have been knocking on my door to ask for advice. And I'm one that I always say, anything that I did was most likely I didn't create. I found it from somewhere, and I was like, okay, I love the way this is designed, but this won't work for my kids. But if I tweak it this way or tweak it that way, I can make it work. So I am always willing to give back to anything. And people are like, oh, yeah, I need a transition drill. I'll send you like 20 drills in the email. So it's just, I like to give back. So and I kind of get like a high off it. I'm a lax rat. So
Yeah,
Tony, what age group are you in regards to, are these is this a club travel teams? Are these going into high school teams? Are these what age group?
So I've been so the Gonzaga one is pretty much their varsity. It was so
Okay.
I had 45 of their guys and were training, and the coach really loved it. He wanted to get an edge, like I was saying with the NABLL trying to give people an edge. He really wanted to get an edge, and he was so excited about what we put together for him. We worked with them for 6 weeks, and we just put them through the paces with box lacrosse and had them moving and teaching them the different movements, and it was just all new to a lot of them. A couple of them have played box, but it's that hybrid box where they played with a field goalie and it's not much contact. We were having them push each other around and
So
trying to
a little bit. You were on field though. You're out.
No, we were in the box. We
you
played
were
in the box.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So we did that. I did a couple of summer camps where that's field lacrosse, and I want to roll out a travel program. The last couple of years, I was going to do it right before COVID, but then I was like, well, I'm not going to compete with COVID and the other travel programs. So I put it on hold. So this year, my goal is to just kind of roll out a team or two. I'm probably going to start young, like 7th or 8th grade, where I want if anybody knows anything about me, I like to play fast, and I'm a big transition guy, and I'm a high risk, high reward. And a lot of the programs and a lot of teams that play now are not like that. Everything's slowed down, get your personnel on. And I just think it's like a wasted opportunity. Like I watched, I think it was UVA Maryland or one of the field games. I had to turn it off after the first quarter because I just couldn't stand to watch them come over the midfield, just stop, stand there, take 30, 40 seconds, and then decide to do an offense, turn it over and do the same. I was like, I couldn't watch this, even though it's high level lacrosse. It's not my level lacrosse. But that's what I like to do. And I think if you train people that way, then there's an edge that can be brought because, who doesn't want to get a big goal out of a transition? It just turns the tide. And if you just train your players, people are always like, well, you have to have the right personnel. And I don't believe that. It's a mindset. You got to teach them that. Like I always taught all my attackmen, I was like, your number one goal is to be the best riding attackman ever. I said, you're going to score 1 million goals, but I want you to be the best riding attackman. That's your number one thing, because we're going to take risks. And if we lose the ball, I want you to get it back so you can go to the goal. And if you play my style, they want to go get the ball back because they know they can go right to the cage. There's no yellow call in my system.
I love that call right there, Coach. That's the best thing. I love my coach, or not my coach, but my son's coach back in high school. My goodness, my son, he was a defensive middie, and they had a great group of core kids. And the defensive middies, they'd get it, and they'd be blowing downfield in that gosh darn yellow. I started playing the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. Every time he started yelling yellow, I'd start hitting the music Yellow Submarine. I was like, that damn yellow. Let them run. Long poles. Let the long pole go down through X and see who's open. Let it take the shot. I love what you're talking about. I love transition.
I mean, like the biggest thing, if you think about it, you can still sub in my style. Go sub your 2 guys. But what's the number one drill that most field lacrosse teams do? It's a 4-on-4. Yeah. They do that drill ad nauseum, but then when you get in a game, go sub your 2 guys and play that 4-on-4 drill that you practice probably 4 times a week. Sure. Why not do that? It's so much easier to score. And when I see so many All-Americans on the field and they're subbing 6 guys and it's a 3-on-3 and you got 3 All-American on attack, and you're not giving them the green light to go on a 3-on-3.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, let's try and get the old fake. Where's the ball? We'll do the old fake. Where's the ball? That's great, and it looks awesome when it works. But you want to know what? You've just blown 20 seconds off the clock.
Yeah,
waiting for that. I love the box game. For the last 2 years, I've been just
I haven't watched
it.
field lacrosse since I started watching box. I stopped watching field lacrosse. I watch all the NLL games from the week. I do all the box stuff with you guys, and honestly, I don't even remember the last time. So actually, the last field game I watched was in Albany. I watched it live, but I haven't put on a PLL game since.
Yeah. Well, the box lacrosse game has even kind of slowed down a little because there's that getting all your personnel on and off and stuff. But it's still a fast element. But
Tony, what'd you think about the PBLA rules?
I liked it. Because that kind of pushed the transition a little, and you got a little bit more of that. And I thought people really were excited about that. We just didn't see enough of that, right? And I think we had a game of the week, and that was pretty much it.
Supposedly they're running this weekend though. So they're running a Facebook thing through the Elmira Renegades fan page. And if you look at that, they're supposedly doing some type of like exhibition tournament this weekend. I was supposed to hook up with Steve Donner is somehow involved in it. He is running that show, I believe. It's been interesting. But yeah, they supposedly, so I'm gonna pull the thing up right now so you guys can see it. Let me hide myself. But yeah, according to this fan group, they run all kinds. See, so there's gonna be a meet and greet this Friday at 7. So this Friday at 7 in Elmira.
Elmira.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that they're planning on doing a tournament. Is this the tournament they're talking about, or
It is. So it's Friday the 24th, and then they're selling the tickets. So they're playing 2 games on Saturday, I believe, and then 2 games on Sunday. And you buy a ticket for 1 day. I can't find it now. I saw it earlier. Jimmy Chadwick, he's a great guy.
Yeah, a bunch of our guys, playing a bunch of the different teams. So they were talking about that in our chat about that.
Yeah,
tournament.
I did see that some people are some of the teams. So they had the Renegades, they had the Spark. I haven't reached out to Ron. I should, but we've been so busy with this and that homesteading show I'm doing now that I really haven't had time to jump into it too much. But I hope it goes. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do selling tickets because the fans might be a little disheartened, but I mean, they've got a very committed group out there in Elmira. Their fan page is running it. They got the bar. I really hope it they muster up something, and like you said, I hope we get more of it. We can see more of it. They had a lot of it filmed because they were showing it to the coaches. They just wouldn't put it out, and I think that was the biggest problem because like you were talking about, that is the most exciting version of lacrosse when you've got guys hustling. And most guys are playing that 4-on-4 style though, where you don't really sub, like even on box, even most of your teams, you see the transition, like the defense still, there's a few guys that go up the floor and they sub it, like you said, where you sub like 2 guys while the other guys, and it's not that the other guys are waiting, they're just running a different offense, kind of waiting for it. And that was what excited me the most about that PBLA and the penalty shots. I thought that was great. You were seeing so many games decided by penalty shots.
Yeah, no, that was a great. I love that piece because it was like, all right, you going with the penalty shot, or are you going with just doing a power play, right? And
or you could split it up, or you could split.
Oh, you could. I didn't realize you could even split it.
Yeah.
So the major, you could do a penalty shot and a 2-minute. Still take the 2-minute minor on the penalty.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there was some pretty cool thought going into that. Whether the traditionalists don't want to touch it or whatever, but it definitely puts conversation out there anyhow. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, we're ready for change. Look at the field lacrosse game went to the 6s. How are you talking about major change, right? So it's only makes sense that the box would have some change with it. But yeah, I really hope that they get together, work out the kinks on that. The thing with the film, and that might have been a strategic thing to try to get people in the seats, right? Because if it's too available, you might not want to buy the tickets, right?
Well, that's why I figured, like a blackout or something, but they should have had the, like, even if they would have just given me access to what they had filmed, I would have cut them highlights because some of what those guys were doing, like that Skylar Thomas, man, that kid could do some fancy stuff with a stick.
He's got a stick.
I coached them in the under 19 World Games with the Iroquois. Well, now the Haudenosaunee, but he, as a young buck, man, he was just as good. Doesn't have the size, but he has the skill level, and he's got the slickness.
The heart, yeah, he's out there. Yeah. He is in it.
Speaking of coaching, you're part of the Team Mexico, correct?
Yes, Team Mexico. So it's been exciting. We've been planning that for a while now. We got Rod Jensen, who runs the Langley Thunder over on the West Coast, who was in the Man Cup against Peterborough. He's our defensive coach. We got Joe French, was on the Golden Bears, but he's played all over the Canadian circuit. He's going to be my offensive coordinator. Rich is going to be our man behind the scenes, taking care of everything. And, I'm overseeing Rod and Joe, and I'll yell at them every now and then, and I'll take credit when everything goes well. So, but we're gearing up. We haven't really done much, but this summer, in June, we have our tryouts in Philly. We have we're going to Denver in August, Mexico City in September, and then we're looking to do a tournament by the end of the year if it works out. But even in all my tryouts, we're having tournaments within the tryout. So I'm a big believer.
Get into the Laxnate tournament?
What's that?
You're going to try and get into the Laxnate tournament?
I can't remember. I think it was a timing issue whether we can make it or not. We'll be able to figure it out once we get through the Denver, whether it's doable. Because a lot of these guys are also playing in the field game, and I think they kind of end after the World Games, right? And we might have them, but I really haven't seen one guy yet. We've been talking a lot. We've been doing.
I know Mario's coming down. Mario Diaz, the goalie for us. He's coming down and playing with you guys this weekend, and he was there last night at the Nexus Center, and I tell you, he's looking good. For a kid that's just starting, he's a field goalie.
Yeah,
and got into the box last year, and he's taken to it. He's loving it, and he's quality kid.
I remember seeing him at nationals. Just he's got that quickness. Right?
He's very fast.
Yeah. I'm excited with him as well. Good stuff. Absolutely.
So I did find, here's the tickets. So they are playing this weekend in Elmira at the First Arena, and here's a voucher for $5 off. Supposedly they were honoring all the season ticket, so that's awesome. Super glad to hear that. So at least the season ticket members from Elmira had a chance. I don't know if Binghamton fans could maybe reach out and try to find out, but they should have a challenge weekend off and running up there.
That's good. Hopefully they'll have some coverage for that.
Yeah, I'm hoping they will. I'm sure they have been all over this Facebook group. I just started using Facebook because we're running that homesteading channel through Facebook Live, so I had to kind of get on here and start doing things. It's a very interesting world. I'm a little late to this party, I'd say.
No, it's a rabbit hole. Just
yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we'll get back onto the NLL here for a little bit. So, did you watch any of the other games this week, Paul? I have not yet watched the Buffalo game, but wow.
I did not get a chance with everything that's going on.
I watched the Saskatchewan San Diego game, and that game, Saskatchewan put a pretty good, hurting on San Diego. That was great. Saskatchewan, they're a little inconsistent, but I tell you, that offense, when it's on, is on fire. Did you watch any of those games this week, Tony?
I have not really had an opportunity to watch any games this season.
I
can't believe I'm busy enough to say that.
Well, that's not always a bad thing, and I tell you, the action has been unbelievable so far, and last week was probably one of the best weeks. It's been a complete change-up. I think the biggest issue so far this year is going to be now that the West is full. There's a full Western Conference. You're not going to get that fifth team coming out of the East, and you've basically got your three top teams in the East running away with 7 wins apiece with Buffalo, Toronto, and Rochester. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a rude awakening for one of these East Conference teams. Philly's woken up a little late to the party. Halifax has been battling so far this year, but
it's good lacrosse. That's for darn sure. I know my wife is about sick of it, and because I take up the big screen, and she's not happy about that. Sometimes she went upstairs today. I got to hang out downstairs with the big screen in front of me, talking to Tony Gray and Beecher. This is awesome stuff. I love it. Technology.
Well, I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen any games, but I've seen highlights. But the one thing I can see is just how intense that they are every possession, and that's with their small rosters. That's they just take a beating. I can imagine they're definitely getting in some ice baths afterwards.
I've said that before. I feel like I don't understand how these guys play 2 games a weekend. When you watch this is closer to football than it is to some of the other sports. I mean, yeah, the intensity out there and just the going after it. Ice baths or just watching them hurts my body. I don't even want to think about it.
Well, youth, right? It all goes back to youth.
Yeah.
Like we're at that age where we're like, okay, I'm already tired just watching them, and I'm sore watching them, and these guys can just run all day. It's like
And the size of some of these guys. Yeah, I know with our teams, we think we got some pretty good sized guys and everything. Being down on the floor where we sat, just looking at them, I'm used to be 6'3", and these guys are, how many aren't at least 6 foot tall and 215 to 25 to 35 pounds and just beasts. And Thompson, right? Is that his name, Beecher, for the Fire Wolves?
Which one are you talking? Heine Thompson, or are you talking
Right.
Tanner
Yeah,
Thompson?
I watch, and I watch my guys in the teams that we play, and we put some pretty good schmacks. If you're in the crease area, that cat, he took, because you're saying the ice baths. Yeah, he took some stuff that was like, holy shit, his body's got to be just a complete bruise. I don't care, I love the sport. This sport, I wish I would have got into it 25 years ago because it's a great sport to watch.
So of these teams, I'm not sure if you can see it down any of the guys from Delaware. Do you know any of these other teams? I know we got to see the Westminster team out at Nationals. I had a chance to see them. Bank City, we know because that's mainly the Yeti guys. I love the Bears logo that you guys are using right now for that. That cracks me up. My wife was like, "I don't think that's the Golden Bears." I was like, "I'm telling you, I've
Yeah,
seen the
no,
the sneak logo come out from time to time."
that's our like bad news bears. Like when we were in IBLA the first year, one of their rules was you couldn't use your team name in the off season. So we brought that out, and you guys know Rich and the boys. They love kind of pushing the edge with every team name and every logo and everything, and every meme. So I'm just like, you guys go do
Well, how
that.
many shirts you guys got now? You guys had a count going last year when you was up for no, at the National. You guys were talking about you got like 30 some different t-shirts or 30 some different hats.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
different
Yeah,
styles.
I believe it.
Peacher's got one on. There it is.
yeah. We're gonna have to update him. I think Rich was working on a new one as we speak
Oh, there
with
we
like a
go.
leather insignia on it. It looks nice. So
Fancy.
Awesome.
So
Now,
the Wild obviously is with us in the Mid Atlantic, so we're very familiar with them. They're a high quality group. A lot of guys from the southern Baltimore area and stuff, and they're really committed. And I was kind of happy for them because they really put in the work for it. So even though they were in our conference and they knocked us off, it was just like I saw it coming because they I just saw the preparation in all different phases, and every time they came full roster. They were committed. They were committed to winning. So hats off to them that it worked in their favor. Now I hope it doesn't work this year.
yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, they took it all the way to the end and ended up national
yeah,
championship. So, I mean, like you said, they had the commitment. They had a very in shape, very athletic team. I mean, they had the one
yeah,
guy out there doing backflips during the championship game. That was insane.
yeah. That was insane.
And then, so the Water Panthers, is that a team you've ever played against, or?
No, but the Water Panthers, they're out of that. They play in that New York group. There's a small little group that didn't participate with the NABLL. They just formed, I think, last year. So they play with that. What is it, 745s, or what's the one that's got like a New York area code?
Or 845.
845s. They play.
Boxes or something like that.
Yeah,
Four or
they
five
played.
box. Yeah.
They created a little league of like 4 teams, so they're out of that area. So that's kind of cool that they're doing some off-season stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was one other logo there. I didn't
It,
recognize
it's
who
the
it
Great
was.
Lakes something. It was the Great
Yeah,
Lakes.
we played them last year. That was a team that I think we got in a little skirmish with last year. They're out of the Buffalo. I think they're Onondaga in Buffalo. Res Kids guys.
That's yeah.
Well,
There. I was gonna say. I believe I heard it was a Western New York, like upstate native box team.
yeah, and
Yeah,
they had a lot of young guys on that team, if I remember correctly,
yeah.
right?
Last year
Uh,
they did. Yeah,
a
that
lot of
was
young natives. Yeah,
it was interesting.
yeah.
So yeah, it should be good. This is we're only gonna be down there Sunday to film. We leave here at like 3 o'clock in the morning Sunday, go down, film all day, and then turn around and drive home. So
Hey,
Oh,
Beecher, do me a favor. Shout out to what that address is for everybody, so that they can watch the game on Sunday. The
oh,
games.
it'll be on Blue Squatch Productions. It'll be right on my YouTube channel. So by tomorrow afternoon, I will have the 3 games uploaded, waiting in the live queue. I just had to wait until we had this show done, and then I've got to make the BS and yeah. But we'll have them all up and loaded. They'll be on my Instagram page, and I'll share the link with everybody so that way you guys all have them through Instagram. We're trying to run the Blue Squatch Productions Instagram a little more than maybe necessarily my BS Productions 518, and Charity's a little more professional in appearance than my stuff is. So we're trying to go that route a little bit more, but we will have it all posted on several of the sites, and they are making sure that all the highlights will be done, so they will have tons of highlights and footage. They basically gave us the carte blanche trip going. The camera came in early too, so I've got this camera for the week now. I'm right down my buddies, but then we got a snowstorm. I was like, hey, we were gonna go film. We're gonna make a kiln. My buddy that does a homesteading show, he's got an old oil tank. We're gonna cut it up and make it a wood kiln that he uses as cold air return to do it. So we'll see what happens.
Nice, nice.
Never
it's always
know
Well,
nice
home.
having you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
oh,
watching the YouTube video, and for some reason it all dropped, but I think it's going back and reconnected, and it did. It
it
reconnected.
did.
So
There we're back. Hello, Yeti Nation.
hello, Yeti Nation. Love
Take
it.
two.
Two.
But yeah, take 2. So, anyways,
Yeah.
basically, though, what I was getting at was what is the next um, news for the NABLL? You've got the teams where they can sign up on the website and everything. We've got the battle on the barge coming up pretty soon. Is there any chance the Golden Bears are coming up to it this year, or not going to make it this year?
I have to check with that if we can get that work with our schedule. We'd love to go up again. It was fun to get there. We just want to make sure we can bring a roster that's gonna be competitive with you guys. So
There was
if we can make that happen,
lot of competition there, boys.
yeah.
No question.
So what's up next? So probably the biggest news was that we upped our insurance. Now we have a more full coverage. I think it was rather than $10 was registration fee, it's $20, but then you get full comprehensive insurance now. Now it's still secondary insurance if you have your primary insurance, but you do have another layer. So that was a cool thing. We were working on that for a long time, and it didn't look like it was going to come through, and we just were able to work it out at the end. So we were really excited about that. We have a forum site. We haven't really kicked it off. I think once I reach out to the players, they'll probably start jumping on there. It's on our website. You can see we have a number of topics, but there's not much in there because we haven't really promoted it yet. What else we got going on? We're gonna have like an interest meeting, a team-wide interest meeting the next month or so everybody can kind of build excitement towards the season. And then last we were looking at, we had about 15 teams interested in joining. So if we even get half of those, that's going to put us close to 40 teams, which is going to be exciting. We're also working on our nationals. We can't release anything yet, but we've been looking at a number of sites and can't even give you any hints, but we're trying to find a site that's going to be, a great experience. I think our theme this year is going to be experience, right? Having a great experience, whatever we do. So
Yeah, you guys have dumped a ton of work into this website. I mean, every time I came on here, it was just like completely different. You guys, yeah, props to kudos to the board. It's really it's really been sweet. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff on there for anybody who's looking. We usually have a link in the description here. You can always get to it through Paul's or my. Uh,
And we'll have Neil Palace's coaching presentation up on Team Connections shortly. We're just trying to work on a couple things to make it look right before we put it up. And then the player connection thing, once we start releasing that, we'll start adding more information on as well. So trying to make it comprehensive.
Did you and Neil get a chance to play together?
So Neil and I, we played against each other a lot. I can't remember. I think Neil and I played on that first Rochester Nighthawks team, but Neil actually made it on the floor. I was an alternate, so I never made it on the floor. But we had a bunch of practices together with that.
Nice.
But and then with the Iroquois, we played together.
Well, that's what I was curious.
Yeah.
Here's a question about 2000. When was the World Games? And it had to be about 2002 or 4, or someplace in there.
Baltimore.
Well, as far as Tri-City Lacrosse, we scrimmaged the Iroquois up in where was it, at Henniger? No, it was at Corcoran High School out in Syracuse. And I don't know if you were there. It was basically I want to say it was early. It's right after the USCLA season happened, and I'm trying to think who was the coach.
I played in 1990 in Australia, 94 in England, 98 in the US, and then 2002. I can't remember where we were. I think 2002 was the last time I played. I can't remember where that was, if that was in British Columbia or not. And then that
was up in London, wasn't it? London, Ontario.
Oh, so I didn't. So 98 was my last one. So I played 90, 94, 98. Yeah, that's what it was. So I played those three. And then I started helping out with the under 19 teams. So I took 2 teams to British Columbia, one as a head coach and one as an assistant. So
nice.
So it's been fun. I mean, I would love to do more with the Iroquois. It's just, it was, it's such a process. It's not an easy thing, unfortunately, to say. They don't make it easy. So I was lucky that Team Mexico asked me to interview. So and I'm excited to share the game with them. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great stuff.
It is. So now the teams that end up showing up on the site, this is just the teams that have already got themselves registered.
Yeah, so they put in there. So the way it works is you have to put a $500 down deposit on it, a deposit down, and then they go up on there, and that opens up their page so that they can start registering players and stuff like that. And then as we move forward, there's the rest of the team fee will be due. But we realize most of the team fee comes from the players, so that's why we have just a 500 to get it kickstarted, just to show that you're continuing to be
definitely interested
in the league. Yeah. Because it makes it much easier when you go for planning the season.
Yeah, to know, and because that was a big thing when it's got to be tough. So last year you guys were a new formed up league, and actually we should have some more news coming out about that a little bit later. I've just realized, looking at the clock, Paul, we've been doing this for an hour. It always happens. All of a sudden I look and I'm like, oh my goodness, we're at 55 minutes already.
Yeah, it flies by. It's craziness.
It really
I'm excited, as far as you were scrolling down there, Beecher, and as far as the NABLL is growing in the upstate, I'm excited about that. We got the Spirit is up in Thousand Islands, Nathan and those guys, they got some great coaches. I'm excited to see that'll be a nice travel, especially during the summer up on the seaway there and all the watery areas. That'll be a good time.
All the watery areas.
Now their head coach, Mikey Benedict, him and I played together pretty much through my whole youth growing up. We were on line mates. We played Rochester Nighthawks together. Again, he's another one. So, but he's a good guy, and I know he's given back, and he's done a lot of coaching with his boys and just kind of stayed with it. So he's going to be a great add there. He's going to bring an element to the game that those guys aren't going to see, or if they have seen, he's going to keep them accountable to.
How many guys are going to follow, between having Travis and Bennett there, I'm sure, I know it affected myself as far as with having Tony Sorcy. Tony, he went with the Voyagers. Several of the guys that have tried out for the Yeti and played for the Yeti, played for Tony with the Voyagers. So, players tend to follow those that they like being, who they played for.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And if anybody doesn't know who Mike Benedict is, we had a chance to talk to him for a couple of minutes on my podcast, him and Travis Cook and Nate Jobson. So they get a little introduction. Hopefully I'm going to start getting some more of those podcasts tuned out pretty soon here. I got to get Soul Man's done first. Me and Snow recorded the podcast like a month ago. The audio got jacked up, and I have not had a chance to get a hold of him. So I'm not doing any more until I get a hold of the Snowman, because his is the next one to come out. But then after Snowman's, we're going to be back up and running again, I think. So
that's good stuff is coming. Good stuff is coming. The NABLL 2023. I'm excited. I know Tony and the board got to be excited. Our players they're getting fired up. They're going down. We got some tournaments. We're going to the Beantown. We're going to Delaware. Then we got invited. The Bang City team got invited to play the Bats out in Rochester before a Nighthawks game. So that's April 8th.
That's good.
Yeah. So as far as the guys are getting fired up. Excited for April 2nd as well up in Thousand Islands. Give a little shout out to.
And I believe that's going to be streamed, or at least I'm going to be up there, get some highlights. I've got that marked in the calendar. The April 8th one I'm not going to make. That's my son's 16th birthday, and we promised him. We drag him all over the place to film all this stuff, so we told him, on your birthday, we aren't going to make you go out to Rochester, but it is too bad because they're playing Albany too. I'm sure it would have been a great time, but we'll have to make that one up. But yeah, there is a lot of box lacrosse coming. Josh, thanks for joining us. I think you are going to be very surprised at the talent level that you see if you watch some of these NABLL games. The national championships, for anybody who hasn't seen any of it, is all on the NABLL's YouTube site. There's so much information on their website. Links for all of their stuff is in our description, and you can find anything else out through Tony. So you've got Piranha Lax, which I do not have in the description, but what is the best way for anybody to get a hold of you?
Oh, just development at NABLL.com. So if they go on the website, they have all our contact information. They can, we have 7 of us, so we can pretty much, we're all divide and conquer. So depending, we're almost like you dial number to contact development, press 1, to contact marketing, press 2, right? We're getting to that point, but all of us, we meet every week. So we have a board meeting every week. So we're really in tune on what's going on. And if for some reason we don't meet one week, we are in a chat that we're constantly communicating with us. And so that enables us to stay in tune with everything that's going on with each other. Even if, like, I'm personally not handling something, I'm aware of it, right? Like this April, I'm aware of Beecher is going to get really involved with the NABLL. And so I don't know if that's what you were alluding to. You didn't want to say anything. I think, I think we're good, aren't we?
As far as I know, we're good, but I haven't heard anything 100%. So I was just kind of was like, we should have the show coming out in April, which will be updated every week. We're going to do different, try to get one person from the board and try to get one team from each region, and try to rotate everybody in and out and find out what's going on throughout there, because like the huge surprise to me was how much talent there was out in the western part of the country here, because I was told box lacrosse was an upstate New York thing, and anybody who knew how to play had to come from there. And then all of a sudden we seen some of those western teams come with the Wheat Kings and the Seattle Kings. We need some new team names too. Nobody else named their team Kings.
Now that's the big joke. No Kings, 2 Yetis. We might have 2 Yetis, right?
Yeah, there's only one Utica Yeti though.
Yeah, but there might be 2 Yetis this year.
Yeah, there are 2 Yetis. I can tell you right now. You want to know what? We got Crosscheck and his cousin Slash. Watch out, there's 2. Awesome. There's another Yeti out there. Well, I've seen there's a couple Midwest Yetis.
Yeah.
We've talked a couple times, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh man,
But-
I think it just kicked us off the stream for some reason. An
It kicked us
error
off the-
occurred. Please try again later. And it hasn't caught up to it yet though, because I'm watching it on my phone. Oh no, and I'm literally hearing myself read it, so I just can't see that we're still live streaming on the thing, but we're still up and running.
Awesome. They love us.
Yeah, YouTube had some issues tonight. I don't know what's going on with their servers, but yeah, it's been an interesting night.
We won't go there. We won't go there.
Yeah.
Big brother's listening to everything.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tony. I really appreciate you going on. Paul, as usual, it's been a blast. Any last parting words from the Utica Yeti Nation?
Yeti Nation, get ready. Keep your eyes open. April 23rd, Sunday, April 23rd. We're going live, and we're picking 2023. 2023. That's what we're picking on the
2023.
23rd. 23 on the 23rd.
Awesome.